Hey everybody, greetings and welcome to another model building workshop. I am Mr. Allen, coming to you from my basement workshop here in Providence, Rhode Island on behalf of the Community Libraries of Providence. And to celebrate D-Day, since I'm recording this and putting it out on June 6th, I thought we would look at a D-Day kit. And this is the Georgian Legion Normandy 1944 from Dragon. I think I've talked about this kit briefly before, but I thought it was a fitting subject for a D-Day show, and here we are, surrendering Axis soldiers at Normandy. So, this is the Georgian Legion, which was a Soviet volunteers into the German army from Georgia. And there were other groups that also, joined the Germans from the Soviet territories. This is one of those groups. But that aside, I think what's fun about this is basically what you're really getting in this kit are surrendering Germans. I don't know why it doesn't just say surrendering Germans. Granted, that's kind of a Dragon thing, as they like to give a theme to everything they package. But surrendering Germans would have been fine with me, and that's basically what I did with it. You do have the badge here, the sleeve emblem here for the Georgians. They give you that as a decal if you want to use it. I opted not to because I thought, hey, surrendering Nazis, wonderful. So here's your instructions on how to assemble them in the typical Dragon fashion. Back of the box, a whole bunch of numbers and paint callouts, but at least they give you a color illustrations. You get some ideas on what it should look like. Granted, there's a lot of photo references out there and tons of books that you can look up all the uniform colors and everything else. Plenty available out there to get the actual colors of these uniforms. And even for kicks, I've got a lunch pail, German lunch pail, that I picked up at a antique store. I think I've brought this out before in a previous episode. But this gives you an idea how battered up they could look. This is kind of like a khaki drab, olive drab sort of a color. Well beat up. The paint is heavily chipped off this guy. But that's an example of what things would look like. Carefully put this back over here. It doesn't fall down. Okay. So with this kit, you get your typical 4 figures in gray plastic like that. With a lot of different gear. And I have them finished here, so I think I'll just show you what I did with them. Funny, every time I look at a kit that I've worked on, I always want to go back and do touch-ups and tweak them again. I guess a lot of us model builders probably have that desire to do so, but here's one. I love these hands up in the air. Another one here. So these are great for dioramas, naturally. It doesn't have to be Normandy, it doesn't have to be D-Day if you don't want it to be. It could be basically any late war, mid to late war kind of a scene or setting that you are working on. Here's this guy with his, he's been shot in the arm, injured. Helmet off. I don't know if you can see that very well, but I use some of the Tamiya decals for the uniforms to get the shoulder boards, so forth on these guys. At least some of them I did. Yeah, but they give you some weapons to go work with here. In this set, you get 4 helmets. You get all the gear that you need. This is 6003. I don't know if that's the same. That's 6277. So let me see. Yeah, it looks like they just threw in assorted equipment for you to work with. Because here's one here with a whole list of late war equipment you can use. I don't know if you can see that very well. Maybe I should get a... if I do this, maybe you can see this better. The different types of gear that's on here. Because this one comes with an MP40, an MP44, is it the G43 rifle, I believe, the Gewehr 44. It's got the box clip on the bottom. You got a Panzerfaust. You got some ammunition here. Gives you ammo cans. Yeah, this is kind of curious. It gives you equipment to go to an MG42 or 34, but it doesn't give you the MG42 or 34, so I'm not sure what that's all about. And this one here gives you 2 of the standard Mauser rifles, and an MP44 is in this one here, and some other stuff. Yeah, that's interesting. It looks like, yeah, because this is still sealed. Because this went to kit 6005. There is a clip here. It looks like it might have been a clip to a, speculating, but it might have been a clip to a paratrooper gun, which is not here. It would have been there, but big opening, so who knows. Anyway, I'm not gonna go on and on about this. I mean, it's, your standard pieces, standard assembly. I mean, obviously it's not complicated, but you do have some options here if you wanted to change it up and put different weaponry on them. It only gives you the ammunition pouches for if they're using the 98K Mauser. It only gives you those style ammunition pouches, so you would have to get some other out of your spares, or one of the many different supply or equipment kits that are out there now from multiple manufacturers if you wanted to gear them up with something else. Granted, they're surrendering, so it's kind of a moot point in a way what weapons they were using, because they're not using them now. Beautiful thing. Okay, so that's today's episode of the Model Building Workshop. Just kind of enjoying D-Day and the anniversary and surrendering Germans. There is a scene in Saving Private Ryan, an unfortunate scene actually, of surrendering soldiers, which the nervous Americans end up shooting them. I'm not going to get into the rest of it, but apparently the surrendering soldiers were saying that they were, I believe, Czech or something else, that they were conscripted from conscripted against their will from a occupied territory. I think was what they were attempting to say. But the trigger-happy Americans, or nervous or whatever, ended up shooting them anyhow. And sadly, things like that happen in combat. Anyhow, happy anniversary of D-Day, and keep on building. All right. We'll see you soon in the next Model Building Workshop.